Okay. The the fake comeback is officially over. It was a fun fake comeback as far as fake comebacks go. Um Knicks lose by a final score of 102 to 91. Uh Score that is not at all indicative of what this game was. Um I'm a little bit at a loss for words here because there is a part of me I think that, like a lot of people who watch this game, um wants to say that this is, I don't know. Nail in the coffin's probably a little bit much. 46 games into the season. Um, I don't know what they are back of 10th place. I don't really care. Uh, but I think coming off of coming off of the 8-3 stretch, and then to drop the Hornets game, which, okay, it's one game. Kind of got it together after the first 6 minutes. Fine. You don't want to make too much of it. Wolves game, maybe the worst half of basketball that they've played this year. It's certainly in the competition for the top couple. Um, Dreadful. And then, okay, now officially your backs are against the wall. You're about to start a stretch in which they think they play go on. I mean, which for them this maybe is a good thing, but 15 road games out of 21. And it's like, okay, you're facing a Hornets team, or excuse me, a Pelicans team that since they started 3-16 or 3-19, whatever. Yeah, I think it's 3-16. Have been a better team than the Knicks. They've won more games than the Knicks. They have a better net rating than the Knicks. Um, so it's not like you could just go in there and it's like, okay, well, it's the Pelicans. If we come out and we play our best ball, we're gonna we're gonna win the game for sure. But you would think that there would be some modicum of urgency with the Knicks in a game like this, with the season feeling like it is kind of hanging in the balance right now. And we just didn't see that. I'm not gonna say they came out and like laid down. Like I thought they played actually pretty hard on defense for a while in the first half. I thought their offense was absolutely dreadful. I thought they were obviously flat on offense. Um, I haven't mentioned anybody by name yet because I am not boiling this game down to any one player or two players. Although I think if you really want to talk about what's been wrong with this team since day one and what's been off with this team since day one, like you kind of have to name names, and we'll get to those names in a bit. Um, I already know everybody's going to be on the fire Tibbs bandwagon tonight, so I'm not even going to try to um I'm not even going to try to fight that. But there is a funny thing in the end, I and it's funny now that I could say this now that now that Chris Herring's book is out, just it just came to my mind. Jeff Van Gundy, who we of course you know is a saint here. There's a chapter of the book about a time during the I think it was the 90, I forget, one of the seasons Jeff coached, and the Knicks were in the midst of kind of a losing streak, and Jeff, I guess, put it all out there on the table in the pregame speech, and he gave it everything he had. Really like challenged his guys. Was like, come on, it's now or never. And the Knicks went out and apparently got their ass kicked, and they look like shit. So you know what? At the end of the day, I think Jeff Van Gundy would be the first person to tell you, coach could do what the coach could do. It's on the players. And I'm sure there will be a lot of people in here who disagree, and that's fine. Everybody has the right to their opinion, and I will honor that opinion. And certainly, a head coach who cannot have a group of players ready to look like they want to win the game deserves every bit as much blame as any of those players. So tonight's not the night to defend Tom Thibodeau. That said, I will just say this, and then I'm going to go to the super chat comments. This was a team last year that was built, that was so simple. Everything they did, it was perhaps the simplest team in the NBA, in that we're going to put all of our effort. We're going to leave everything we have, everything on the court, on the defensive end. And we're going to just try to get by on offense. And they ended up just getting by on offense. They had the 24th ranked offense. Think about that. They were a 4 seed with the 24th ranked offense in the league. It's hard to do. And on offense, it was very simple. It was, we have one guy who's really good, and it's all on him. And we're going to ride him until the wheels fall off. And they rode him to a 4 seed, and then they got to the playoffs, and the wheels fell off. And, Derrick Rose gave him a little push, but he did not have it in him to carry it all the way home. And then that was that. So in the summer, as we know well by now, they were like, all right, we're not going to put it all on that one guy anymore. We're going to give him some help. And they tried to get him some help. And it just, I know I've said this speech before, and I'm going to say it again because it's the only thing that I feel is appropriate to say right now. They fucked with the formula that worked. And we are now sitting here 46 games into the season, and they still haven't been able to figure it out. And I'm not putting their offseason moves as the reason that Randle has been. I mean, I don't know what. Look, you want me to pile on the guy tonight? I'll pile on the guy tonight. I'm certainly not above that. He was 1 for 9 and looked on offense to be, again, like we've seen him throughout games this season. He looked like a guy that was like, I don't know, forget about the best player on a team. He looked like a guy who was just kind of out there. Didn't really know, didn't have a plan, or he had a plan and he couldn't execute the plan. And it's just, and it all kind of starts there. And then you got a guy like Kemba Walker who's used to doing his thing. And when he gets a chance to do his thing, which is just fire away and be the number one, he looks good. And then RJ has his moments where he gets to be the number one guy and he looks good. And Fournier, when he's the number 2, he looks pretty good. And you have all these guys who are used to all these roles, and the closer they get to their role that they're used to, the better they look. But the closer they get to their role that they're used to, everybody else evaporates. And again, 46 games in, there has been no moving 17 points in the first quarter, 15 points in the third quarter. That's your game right there. 32 points scored between 2 quarters that make a half of basketball. You're not going to win a game that way. And it's because it's for the umpteenth time this season, the starting unit just absolutely has nothing on offense. And I don't want to put it all on Randle, but they still plan this team to the point where he's the center point. He's the centerpiece. And they tried to make life easier for him. And it just, if he's not going to be a guy who can be a decent player, then it all falls to shit because he's still out there, and, I'm sure people will call for him to be benched again and this and that. I'll go back to the same thing, which is what do you want him to do? You want Tibbs to bench Randle? You want the front office to trade Randle? I don't know. I don't think that's a tenable option. And the last thing I'll say is for anybody who's fire Tibbs is garbage. Okay, what's the coach going to come in and do? Tell me what a new coach is going to come in and do. Right? I just, maybe you have a better answer than me. I don't have an answer. Is the coach going to make it work with this group of guys? Is he going to figure out how to make Kemba Walker and Julius Randle work well together? I don't know. Maybe. I don't see it. Is he going to stick Kemba Walker back on the bench? I guess that's what Tibbs tried to do. Is he going to bench Julius Randle? I don't think you're going to get anybody in here who's going to do that. At the end of the day, it comes down to your talent, which is why, for as much as Tibbs has done not a poor job, he's done a mediocre job this year. I gave him think I graded him as a C or a C plus when we talked about it a week or two ago. Um, you know, to put this again to put I don't mean to laugh, but to put a game where your best player, ostensibly your best player, went 1 for 9. Your starting point guard went 1 for 5 with 2 assists and 2 turnovers. Where your $72 million offseason acquisition went 2 for 8. And like the guys who were the best players went 3 for 9. Burks quickly 4 for 13. The only guy who shot above 50% was Grimes. Like, it's a basketball game. You got to hit shots. I don't know. I just again, this is not. I know everybody's gonna get on me for defending Tibbs. I don't really give a shit. But like, I just want an answer. If none of your players can do the very thing that you need them to do to win a game, I don't know how you're supposed to win a game. I don't know what coach is supposed to help. Like the players have been bad. It's a bad fit. It's bad juju. I don't really know. But this season could get really ugly really fast if they're not careful. Very curious what they do with the trade deadline. I don't think they're going to tank this season. So what does that mean? They just kind of meander to the finish line? We'll see. Maybe. True story, Jay. Macri, how can you defend Randle? He's quit. He's soft. And Tibbs lost the team playing favorites. Shake my damn head. Again, so the alternative is there. The alternative is there is that Tibbs goes away from Randle. And Tibbs starts going tough love on Randle and takes Randle out of the game and plays Randle 20 minutes a night or 25 minutes a night. Is that going to help them win games? To get a guy who clearly is not the most mentally stable player, to get him more mentally unstable? Like, I don't know. If I was Tibbs, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd probably lean into it with the thinking like, well, I'm fucked either way. I might as well hope this guy figures out how to play some semblance of the basketball he played last year again. Because if I go the other way, then I've lost him. And if you're Tibbs and you lose Randle, I don't know where that leaves you. Then you probably lose your job. So maybe if you do want Tibbs to get fired, maybe that's what he should do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that. Drew P. Tibbs is the worst offensive scheme in the league. No off-ball screens, no cuts, no movement. All ISO and pick while everyone stands still. So, funny enough, cuts and screens and all that shit, it only works when you could create matchup advantages. It's just kind of how basketball works. And right now, the Knicks don't have anybody who could really create matchup advantages. The only guy they have who could create a matchup advantage is Julius Randle. And when Julius Randle plays like this, he's not creating matchup advantages. He was in the first half. And the Knicks offense, the best it looks was when Julius was making nice passes off of cuts and all those sorts of things. But again, if the guy can't hit a shot, that's only going to go so far. So it's nice to imagine in your dream world that a coach is going to come in and like revamp the offense to the point where it's going to start like scoring, but it's like that's not going to happen. Like the players need to do their part. And again, I just read the stats. I don't need to read them again. If the players are like, go back and watch the game. Like nobody could get downhill, or maybe they can get downhill, but they're just not putting in the effort to get downhill. Like Kemba Walker, we've seen him get downhill this year. He didn't get downhill at all in this game. Same thing with Fournier. Randle took the easy way out. RJ got downhill a few times, and I thought that was their best offense. Rob Talusma. Serious question, JM. Do you think Tibbs lasts his contract? I don't think so. Yes, I do. Again, I must be living in my own. I don't know. I don't know where. I guess I'm just really out of touch. Because the notion that like another coach is going to come in here and like if it like I don't know, is this a thing where you think somebody needs to like fire up Julius Randle and Kemba Walker and that's going to make them play better together? I don't get the sense that that's what's missing. I get the sense that these are basketball players who don't know how to play basketball with each other. And it reverts back to the same shit of like guys walking around on eggshells, which is why he benched Walker to begin with. I thought there's a reason why we all thought that inclination was the correct one. I know it's revisionist history now, but unfortunately they don't have another point guard. When Derrick Rose especially went down. Jason M, type of loss that leads to big changes, season defining loss. Yeah, maybe. Reinserting Kemba was a mistake. I don't know how I could disagree with that at this point. Not blaming him for tonight, but he's not the answer. Again, it's a guy that so very clearly just has not been able to make the late career adjustment to being the third guy. Like, someone needs to be Kevin Love. Someone needs to be Chris Bosh. Someone needs to be Klay Thompson. Someone needs to be the guy that's just like, hey, I know the ball. Like, the ball can only be in the hand. Like, possessions can only run through two guys. That's it. It's just two guys, which is why there was, and I said this during halftime, and I'll say it again. I know they had some atrocious offensive games when Kemba was out, and the offense was running through Julius and RJ. But at the same time, you felt like, okay, they're on the verge of finding it. At least like there's a plan here, and it's kind of working. And then it doesn't work, and it looks atrocious because they do need an outlet. Like they need a point guard who is comfortable being an off-ball player and can be more useful as an off-ball player. That's not Kemba Walker. The alternative is to get a point guard who is a number one or a number two, and then that slots RJ Barrett down to a number three or a number four, and he becomes the off-ball player, which I think if the front office had their druthers is what would happen. Or I guess you could trade Randle for that number one and RJ stays the number two, whatever. But like only two guys could have the ball. Kemba's not one of them, and he can't really function that way. We got a Blood of the Panda chat here that is pinned. Hey, Claudia, hope your family's well. Can you ask Macri what he thinks about Mark Jackson? I think Mark Jackson should not coach the Little Sisters of the Poor. I think he's an atrocious human being, and I think he's an atrocious coach. That's what I think of Mark Jackson. Brian Benjamin, Julius Randle or Eddie Curry? LOL, love the show. Yeah, man, it's getting. I mean, this has been. I'm not going to say it's been as bad a season as we've seen from a major big time player or a guy who was again ostensibly supposed to be the best player on the team that we've seen in like Knicks history. Like there have been some pretty atrocious seasons from like again quote unquote good players. This has been the most frustrating one in my memory. Because you've never once felt like he's figured it out. And it's just so different from the guy we saw last year. And maybe he's hurt, which is probably why I feel like I'm maybe taking it a little easy on him tonight. If he's not hurt, if he's not hurt, then I don't know what the answer is. If he's hurt, it would explain a little bit. If he's hurt, it might explain a lot, actually. And if he's hurt and he's gotten through it, like, I don't know. Jonas Plout, take your anger out on the like button. I love it. Thank you, Jonas. Lunas and Marat, first game this year, I'm legit mad with Tibbs. Can't watch their lead go from 4 to 21, and the only sub is taking out Mitch, who's the one guy playing well. RJ is all right. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Van Gundy did the pull 5 starters thing. I think the reason he took Mitch out is because he doesn't trust Mitch's conditioning, nor should he. And you could tell Mitch was starting to get a little winded. But In terms of why didn't he pull the starters earlier? That's I think that's very fair. I mean, it happened quick. I would have to go look at the exact time of the subs. It felt like Obi usually comes in at the beginning of the second and fourth quarter. I know Obi came in a minute and a half left in the third quarter. That was probably a minute and a half or 3 minutes and a half too late. So if you want to give me that criticism of Tibbs, I'm here for it. 100%. Totally fine. Sub them all out with 3-4 minutes into the half when it's very clear you don't have it. Send a message to your team. And don't do it. And here's the thing: you're not doing it just to Randle. Sub them all out. Sub them all out. If the game gets away, the game gets away. But you have to, at that point, I guess, you have to stand your ground, and it has to be, what you're seeing has to be so egregious that you could stand and die on that hill and be confident that it's going to send the right message, as opposed to losing your team. Which, again, for all of the messages that we want Tibbs to send, I don't think he's lost the team yet, because again, we were all ready to fucking have them in the 6th seed again when they went 8-3. He clearly hasn't lost the team. Like, even tonight, they made this comeback attempt. That's not a coach who's lost the team. And I don't even get the sense that the starters came out in the third quarter and didn't give a shit. They were just sloppy. They're not a group of guys who likes playing with each other. They're not a group of guys who's comfortable playing with each other. Kemba threw a cross-court pass to Randle. I was like, what are you doing? It's all of them. It is all of them. But again, if you want to say that Tibbs should have benched them all after 3, 4, 5 minutes, that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. It's a very valid comment. Daniel Chang. Macri, talk me off the ledge. I don't know if I'm the guy to do that tonight. This is giving me Knicks 2013-14 vibes, man. Nah, this isn't 13-14. I think I could look, the seasons that you would compare it to would be either 16-17, the first Derrick Rose year, or God, I get my years mixed up. 1920, no, 18-19, 17-18, which is the KP All-Star year, where they started above 500, and then it just went to shit, even before the KP injury. The thing was, those seasons felt like a team that was winning games it shouldn't have been winning. For me, my feeling this season is I've been watching a team that's been underachieving. With the thought that it could all fall apart. And 13-14, they started off 2-9 or whatever it was, and then actually rebounded towards the end. I don't think this team has what did that team finish, fifth? I don't know, 12-4 or something. I don't think this team has that in them. And it's also not going to, if they ever went on a stretch late, they would get in the play-in, but because it's not going to be that much competition for it. This team is its own animal, and it's nothing good. I think your fear, honestly, if you're a Knicks fan, your worst fear is that they keep going for it, and then they just miss the play-in, and they end up 10th in the lottery or 9th in the lottery, and they get the 9th or 10th pick, and that would be unfortunate. At this point, I don't care if it's a 10th seed, either get in the play-in or finish 5th or 6th in the lottery odds. Just give me one of those two things. Both units look lost. Anyway, arrest David Fizdale for malcontent. Hey, Sass, mommy's in bed. My daughter just woke up like a zombie. Kevin Danishevsky. I love you, Kevin. Being positive. Thank you, Kevin, for being positive. Quentin Grimes is the real deal. Unlike other bad years, I do think the future is intact. Deuce sliding up the G League. RJ played well. Well, Deuce, I think, he did not shoot well last night in the G League. I know he had a bunch of assists. RJ, I can't even say RJ played well. RJ played okay. I thought his defense on Ingram was good in spurts. I thought he had a couple of nice moments on offense, but he had a nice pass to the corner, I think, on a drive. He's continuing to come along. On the whole, given everything we've seen, is this what we should have expected from RJ? This is not the season that we wanted from RJ. It's also not a debacle. It's probably a little bit less than mediocre in terms of what we should have expected. look, I think Grimes is good. I think Quickly is good. I think Toppin, we haven't even really talked about Toppin. Like Toppin's fine, but these are, I've been a little higher on Quickly than most, but I think even of late we're starting to see or starting to be reminded of like, Quickly has his limitations. Like these are nice, maybe fifth, other than RJ, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth guys on a good team. And those are important pieces, but to say like we have this great young core and like the young core is intact, like they don't, like the number one guy is still Randle, and Randle has nights like this where he makes you want to jump out a fucking window. And RJ is like we don't know what RJ is going to be yet in terms of like how good he's going to be. So I appreciate you trying to be positive. There's like it's not all bad. I'm not saying it's all bad. I mean, again, they're two games under 500. Think about how many years in the past we would have killed for 2 games under 500. But it's just been the way these losses unfold just is so disheartening sometimes. And the thing I wanted to say at the top of the show when I didn't say it, and because I got distracted, and I'm going to say it now. Amidst everybody just is going to be piling on this team for the next 2 days, and it's going to be fucking. I mean, this is the low point. We all talked a lot about Knicks culture, right? Last year, we all Big 15, the whole thing. Your culture doesn't like that's not where you prove your culture. Your culture isn't proven during 9-game winning streaks. Your culture is proven by 3-game home losing streaks where you expected to go and win all these games. That's where your culture is tested. Have the Knicks really built a culture, or was last season basically a facade built around, a really hot season from a guy that was playing above his head and like a new coach bump from a first-year coach who like gets a lot out of his guy? We're going to find that out. And I don't know the answer. But I mean, I'll say this, as fake as the comeback was, it gives me a little bit of hope that the culture is real. A little bit. But we'll see. Dan Hidalgo, I hate to do this to you tonight, J-Mac, but Randle Barrett for, I don't mind this at all. This is fine. Randle and Barrett for Halliburton, Barnes, and a 2022 first-round pick swap. Maybe we should punt. So who's getting the pick swap? Are the Kings getting the pick swap? I mean, they're not going to do that. Would I do that? No, I wouldn't do that. I've been very hard on RJ Barrett. I think there is a real ceiling for RJ that, and listen, Tyrese Halliburton there's a possibility that he could make me look like a fucking asshole for saying what I'm about to say, but I'll say it anyway. I think there's a ceiling for RJ Barrett that Halliburton doesn't possess, which is to say, RJ Barrett is a massive wing who has shown you the ability to do all the things that you need big wings to do at times in spurts, inconsistently, where that could be a real difference-making player on a team. Tyrese Halliburton's like he's a really, 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 really great connecting piece, but he's still the fourth guy on a great team. He's never going to be anything more than the fourth guy on a great team because he just doesn't have that size and like the position he plays. But I've already said, and I think I got pilloried for it on Twitter. I already said that I would do something centered around Randle for Barnes, but I would want more stuff back. Can you give me Barnes and Halliburton for Randle and like what else would I give up? I don't know, something else, something decent. The Dallas pick, I'd do that. Hush Zoo. Evan is so useless, man, if he's not hitting shots. Tonight he was. But at the same time, last 15, 16 games, He's been really good. His defense has turned it up. I feel bad. I know, like, his bad games just look so bad, but he's been having a lot of good games lately. Like, he's entitled to a bad night. Um, it just came at a really bad time. Again, what was he from deep? 1 of 6 from deep. It just kills you. Just kills you. I'm praying every day we move that contract. I don't care if he drops 50 the next game. I can't stand watching him. Like I don't think he's part of the solution here. The day they sign that contract, they sign that contract to move that contract. They're not going to move him before the deadline. I'd be shocked. Unless someone like pays a premium for it. But Andrew has here, somehow there are still over 600 of you in here after a game like that. Genuine appreciation sent out to all of you. Now get those likes up. Yeah, get the likes up, and unless you're just watching this because you hate me and it's like a hate watch. I don't really do hate watches. I don't get people who do hate watches. It feels like there are better uses of time than to hate watch somebody. That said, if you're hate watching this, I guess just hit the like button. And we move on. Manny Campos, Rob Schneider in the Waterboy voice. Oh my God, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. Oh no, we suck again. Seriously though, the inconsistency of this team is maddening. And I'm going to go back to a comment that Jason made earlier about Walker's reinsertion into the starting lineup. And again, I'm not putting this loss on Walker, although that you can't be a starting point guard in the league and throw that pass that you threw to Randle. That was turned over for a fresh, but that's an atrocity against humanity. And like Walker tonight, 1 of 5, 0 of 3 from 3. Lot of defensive covering up for him in the throughout the game. It just doesn't make sense with this team. I don't know what you do with them, but it's not making sense. That's, to me, there needs to be, like, again, that's why I thought the move was good at the time. There needs to be some addition by subtraction here. I don't know. I wrote today that I thought Kemba Walker was a near lock for the rotation for the rest of the year. I don't even know what to say about that. Oh, this is Tibbs' comment. Oh, appropriate timing. The first 5 minutes of the third, we were in mud. We have this inconsistency we have to fix. Well, sure. Kenny Rose, what's going on, Kenny? Oh boy, as expected, slow starts in the first and third. One thing that's obvious: their starting lineup isn't good. Losing Rose was the nail. Sell mode. Here's the issue about sell mode, especially now that Burks started to struggle a little bit. I don't know what you're getting for any of these guys. I don't know what, like, the only pieces that anybody around the league is going to want to buy are pieces that we don't want to give up, or fan base doesn't want to give up. Like, they're not like, I said all along I thought they'd be able to get a first round pick for Burks, but again, like, you're going to get a first round pick maybe from a contender for Burks. What is it going to be? A pick in the mid to low 20s? Like, the Knicks basically just decided a week ago with the Cam Reddish trade, like, we value a first round pick in this, like, because it looks like the Charlotte pick might actually get conveyed this year, and it would be 19 or 20. The Knicks basically telegraphed, we don't really give a shit about the 19th or 20th pick in this draft. I have to laugh at this. Josh Hart joked that it felt like the Pels were playing 6-on-5 tonight because the Knicks fans were so frustrated. They weren't on our side, but they weren't on their side either. That's not a great look. Although at the same time, like, I can't blame any fan. It was fun. Again, I've said this. I'm not someone who boos, but I can't blame anybody for booing tonight. Fucking tickets cost a lot of money. Like, I would never pay. I don't know if I should say this out loud. I would never pay the money that these fucking tickets cost to go see this team. Never in a million years would I pay. Like, I have no idea what the cheapest ticket at Madison Square Garden costs. I would never pay money to go see this team play this year. How many games have there been truly fun, really awesome? Like, yes, that was a wonderful investment of my money and time. How many of those games have there been this year? 12, 13, maybe. All of the losses have been atrocious, and a handful or so of the wins haven't even been like that great. They've been more frustrating than enjoyable. So, like, what do you got? A 1 in 4 chance that you're going to go and see a game that makes you feel good? Fuck that. I got better. I'll go buy myself a sandwich. Anyway, Derek, not all his fault, and I know you're a Tibbs apologist, but yes, I am. But the team was not ready to play. Subs too late, no spark. Refusal to run offense through RJ. Bad job. I did think the offense, the offense, other than like when they've tried to make the comeback against the Hornets backup, I keep calling them the Hornets, against the Pelicans backups. Other than that, I thought the best offense that their starters looked like was like that handful of possessions or so in the third quarter where they tried to run it through RJ Barrett. I thought that looked pretty good. So again, I thought that was a decent adjustment. But in terms of the not being ready to play, I mean, again, yes, he deserves blame. The reason I come to the man's defense is because the tenor of the comments in my eyes are like it is like 90% his fault and it's like 10% everything else. To me, he's just an equal party to blame. That's why I defend the man. Because it's so easy to blame the coach, because when you're blaming the coach, you're not owning the fact that your team employs basketball players that aren't that good. And no fan wants to be like, wow, I'm rooting for a team whose players aren't good. That's depressing, you know? So I get why people blame the coach, but it's like, if your players suck, your players suck. I'm not saying they suck all the time, but they suck tonight. Emil Boumansour. Randle has zero mental toughness. Yes. Interesting Kemba Walker back ruined the chemistry, and RJ is obviously affected. Yeah, RJ's affected. RJ's affected big time, which is why I was predicting when RJ was going on his run. I said it multiple times. I'm like, I don't think Kemba Walker's ever going to play another game, because how can you go from what we've seen with RJ, where it was like something was working, and then go back to like, all right, he's third on the totem pole, or like maybe not third on the totem pole, but like not a clear, or just he has one more mouth to feed, or there is one more mouth to feed. If you want to get on Tibbs for putting Kemba back in the starting lineup, but at the same time, if it's not Kemba, then it's still Point Burks, and we didn't like Point Burks. I will say this: here, you want to see me criticize Tibbs? I'm going to criticize Tibbs. Why not put Quickly in the starting lineup? Why not at this point? What have you got to lose? Again, there would be a PR issue if you mothballed Kemba again. Even though you could stick Kemba on the bench, have Kemba come off the bench, have Quickly come with the starting five. The reason I like that is we've seen Emmanuel Quickly be able to play off ball. There is an argument that Emmanuel Quickly is a better player off ball, who's a guy who cuts and can dart out and fires away from three. Have him be the third guy on the floor. He's fine being the third guy on the floor alongside Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. He's awesome on defense, but his defense is good. More often than not, it can be really good sometimes. That would be a bold move. That would be a bold move. And Tibbs is not ready to make a bold move at this point. I don't know if he believes that bold move would help, but I think we are getting close to the point where it's like, fuck, what else are we going to do? What are you looking for here? iWatch charger? There you go. Randle had 4 points against Herbert Jones. Herbert Jones is a good defender. I have to say that. Please don't tell me it's Tibbs. We must be better. Yes, we must be better. Lunas and Marat. I think the number one reason this year flopped is simply last year Jules played like a top 10 guy. He had a top 10 season last season. I don't think any of us ever watched Julius Randle and that's a top 10 player in the NBA. I certainly thought he was a top 20 to 25 player in the NBA. This year he's played I don't even know how to answer that question, because on some nights he's extraordinarily detrimental. And at the same time, it's like you watch the team when he wasn't in the lineup, and like that's not the answer either. I don't know where I'd rank Julius Randle this year, but obviously he's no big time player. We could say this: no big time player in the league has dropped off more from last season to this season than Julius Randle. That's easy. The comment continues. I didn't even see this. I don't know if he's been top 45, and I feel like RJ should have come back in the fourth. I listen. You're in for a penny. You're in for a pound. Those guys showed life, brought you back. Who are you going to bring in RJ for? I guess Burks maybe. Burks hit a couple threes. Burks made some nice defensive plays. Yeah. What is Andrew saying here? 1 like equals you want IQ to start. Yeah, let's see if we get the likes over 200. That would be cool on this miserable fucking evening. Anthony Sixto. Last year, we were Rando's surprising teams. Now we are the victims of Rando's having the odd great night game after game. Hit our ceiling. Front office's turn now. I will say the kid from, I don't know where he's from, kid from the Bronx. I should probably know his name. He smoked our ass tonight. Alvarado. Like, I really thought there was going to be a chance that fourth quarter comeback was going to be a real comeback and not a fake comeback. But Alvarado, man, give the kid credit. I think he hit at least two big shots, maybe 3. Yeah, I don't know if that's because like teams are taking the Knicks more seriously now or anything. Like I think teams probably took him seriously last year at a certain point. No, I think the previous comment. I mean, again, I don't say that it just boils down to Randle being such a worse player, but like because it's kind of so obvious. But that's what it is. Slacker hero, what's going on, man? Whatever happened to playing small with Obi and Randle? Why can't Tibbs ever try it again? His dinosaur rotations and inflexibility have cost games. Tonight was not the night to do that. I don't know if you noticed on the floor, there was a young gentleman by the name of Jonas Valanciunas, who during in the fourth, one of my favorite moments of the game was Obi Toppin got momentarily switched onto Jonas Valanciunas, and you know what Obi Toppin's response was? I'm literally going to bear hug this person rather than try to play defense on him. He literally just put his arms around him. There was no attempt to play defense. So if you're going to go small, you're getting either Randle or Obi guarding Jonas, and Randle had a moment or two. There was at least one switch that I remember. There may be another one that I'm not remembering where Randle got switched onto Jonas, and Jonas just backed him in and put a little jump hook over him, and it was the easiest points he had all game. So tonight wasn't the night to do that. You want to tell me that they should have done that against Jackson Hayes? Well, last I checked, Jackson Hayes in the second quarter was basically rim running left and right. Like, you got to pick your spots. I think they should go to that more in certain games, and they have gone to it in certain games. They've gone to it a lot more this year than last year. Having gone to it a lot recently, I think the reason they haven't gone to it a lot recently is because Mitchell Robinson's been playing a lot better. Taj has been up and down. Not a great night for Taj, obviously, tonight. But whatever. That's fair. But again, like the notion that like tonight was a rotational thing, fine. If you want to give me that he should have pulled the starters earlier, I'll hear that. But Anthony Sixto says, hit the like button if you don't want to hit the like button. That's great. Andrew L. Chan. Is Leon Rose alive? I think he's alive. Can he speak to the fans' media about this vision? Oh, I think this is Vorkunov. This is Vorkunov's burner. Gulla's performance at home, or maybe it's James Dolan's burner, is a must-win. In a must-win. Pels do not have more talent than the Knicks. Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they absolutely do. Brandon Ingram, who was injured and didn't play the fourth quarter, is better than anyone on the Knicks. Devontae Graham, this season at least, he's better than anyone on the Knicks. He's better than he's better than Randy. He's been better than Devontae Graham's been better than anybody on the Knicks. So I would actually Jonas Valanciunas has been better this season than anyone on the Knicks. And then you go on down the line. Herbert Jones is not a name a lot of you recognize. I realize that. That dude's been a really good rookie. He's a real threat to make all rookie second team. Josh Hart has had a quietly a very nice season. Like, I know their bench isn't great. That's for sure. Their bench is not great, but their bench is pretty good tonight. Like, there's a reason. Again, I'm not talking out of my ass here. Over the last 2 months of basketball, by any metric, the Pelicans are a better team than the Knicks. You want to tell me that they don't have as much talent? I don't know. But again, if you're going to get on Leon Rose, then you have to acknowledge the fact that Leon Rose inherited a team with, if not the least talent in basketball, was bottom 2 or 3, and he's, the Knicks are over 500 since he took over. So I'm not getting on Leon Rose, not yet. Or if you're mad at him for not talking, like I don't really give a shit what Leon Rose has to tell me. That's not interesting to me. Nothing any GM says is ever interesting to me because they're just saying things to like. They're not going to say anything interesting, and if they do say something interesting, my reaction would probably be like, "Why are you talking about this? You should not be revealing this." Okay. Hold on, catching up here. All right. Yes, smash that like button. Okay. Andrew, if I missed anything, let me know. I'm picking up where I have here. Robert Cross, my main man, Mr. Hashtag 53 wins. Do you want to do a road trip to watch us take on the Lake Show for $1,000 for a pair of seats? Yeah, I will pass for now. Check back with me next week. What else we got here? Another one from Robert Cross. Yes to IQ as starting point guard, and hashtag 53 wins is here. Yeah, what do we have to go now to get to 53 wins? 31-5. 31-5. Do we have 31-5 in us? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe. Steven Cordero. Randle got a T, then acted like an idiot with Fournier trying to calm him. He's a head case, and that sabotaged the season. Tibbs hasn't coached well, but his hands are tied. That's my favorite comment tonight. Yeah, Tibbs hasn't coached well, but his hands are tied. Like, again, I just keep going back, like, maybe, I don't know. I was about to say, like, what would I do if I were Tibbs? And maybe, like, that's, because, like, we've all worked with people before, right? Like, none of us are head coaches and have ever coached at the level that Tibbs has coached with, but we've all worked with people. And if you have a guy that is, if he gets right, your best chance at winning games by far, like, how do you handle that if the guy is just, like, goes out there and has games like that? I don't even know. I don't even know how you handle that. He hasn't been able to handle it well enough. Or maybe he has, and maybe 22-24 is actually really good. I don't even know for like for where this team is. From Joseph Cupid. So Tibbs should blame the players or Leon? Tibbs shouldn't blame anyone. Nobody should be blaming everyone. They should all be looking in the mirror. Eric Nordlander, thank you so much for the contribution. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks everybody for watching. Sorry, I'm like pushing back so much. Okay, Andrew is telling me we're behind, so I am ready to catch up here. I'm looking for the RJ quote. Boston Nick, if you want IQ as part of the starting unit, then who would you like running with the bench unit, kind sir? It's a good question. For right now, I would run Kemba with the bench unit. And I would run Kemba with the bench unit because Kemba likes the ball in his hands. He wants the ball in his hands. He could create his own shot if you give him the ball time after time after time on offense. And again, just as currently constituted, this lineup or this rotation or this roster as currently constituted, There's not gonna be any Derrick Rose probably for another month. So then all you're talking about is the return of Cam Reddish. Now, that creates an issue, obviously. Do you push Grimes to the bench? I wouldn't push Grimes to the bench. But like, just for a moment, leave Cam Reddish out of it. I think there's a world where like Kemba running backup units with Burks quickly, or excuse me, with Burks, Grimes, and Obi could look pretty good. I think that I think those guys could do some damage. Quickly, good defender. Grimes, good defender. Obi, not good defender. But again, you're going against backups. But again, that's not the role that Kemba wants. That's not the role Tibbs sees for Kemba, and it's not going to happen. And then eventually, look, they need to find a new home for Kemba, and then that gets into dicier territory because then if Quickly's starting before Rose comes back, then you're talking about Burks, Grimes, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin in the backup unit before Rose comes back. I don't know. How would that look? I mean, if Burks could be the starting point guard, he could be the backup point guard, right? Maybe. We'll see. Whatever. He's not going to do that. From Emil Boumansour. Do not tell me that it's Tibbs' fault. Randle scored 4 points on fours that look like two guards. He's playing smaller than he is. By the way, this is RJ Barrett's comment on the Knicks looking frustrated. Losing is frustrating. I think if we didn't feel like that, that'd be a problem. The spirit of wanting to win is good. That's fine. The moment for Randle that really crystallized it for me tonight, and I said it at halftime, at one point he had Alvarado matched up on him. I'm going to look it up right now. Jose Alvarado is listed at 6 feet. And if he's 6 feet tall, then so am I. That dude ain't nowhere close to 6 feet. He had Jose Alvarado matched up on him 8 feet from the basket. And you know what Julius Randle did? Julius Randle took a turnaround jumper and it rimmed out. Like, I don't know what more you need to see. That man is not right. Something is wrong. Something is off. Something is askew, as it were. All right. Andrew, feel free to get another of the old comments, old super chats as a pinned comment. Charm City Knicks fan. Red wine helped me get through this loss. Good for you. I'm drinking Five Boroughs Brewing Company Winter IPA, which is pretty good. Pretty good. It's doing the trick. Plenty of individual blame to go around if you really want to, but the 3-pointers and free throws just didn't drop. Yeah, I mean, again, like I've been talking for 53 minutes about, and again, the sky is falling. It's the nail in the coffin. The season is over. Sell everything. Fire Tibbs. Trade Randle. Yada 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 yada. The Knicks went 9 of 38 from deep tonight, and like that was with them hitting. I don't know exactly, but probably like what 3 of their last 6 or 3 of their last 7, something like that. Like they had a lot of threes that didn't go in. Whose fault is that? Like, again, I don't know. The free throw thing is just, but again, the free throw thing to me, that's like for again, my 2 cents with zero evidence. Like the free throw thing, that's a concentration issue. That's a sign of a team that is not as locked in as they need to be. Which again, put that blame on Tibbs if you want. Like you got to have your guys ready to play, and if you're not locked in enough to make fucking free throws, that's a problem. Like Kemba Walker missed a free throw bad. RJ, I think it's just in his head. We need consistency there, and I don't know where it's going to come from either. Makes 2 of us. Gehuber then. When the team is never not ready to play, that falls on a coach and guys standing around the 3 watching each other dribble. Isn't it cut, run, pick and roll, something? But again, the backups do all that stuff. Like, the backups look great. Um, and the starting unit looks great sometimes. Like, the starting five, think back to the starting five 2 nights ago against the Timberwolves in the third quarter. Like, they can do it. We've seen them do it. Like, there are plays there to be called, but it comes down to being aggressive, and it comes down to making a point to do the things that you need to do to win games. And, like, we've seen here's the other part of it. Like, we've seen different versions of all of these guys this year. Maybe not as much Randle because he's been pretty bad for most of the year, but, like, we've seen two completely polar opposite versions of Evan Fournier. We've seen versions of Evan Fournier where that dude comes in and he's like, I don't give a fuck who else is out there. I'm going to win this game, and I'm going to make it a point to win this game. And we've seen a lot more of that guy lately. That guy did not exist tonight. Again, is that on Tibbs? I don't. I maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Is what Randall's doing on Tibbs? Like, I don't know. I guarantee you this. I guarantee you what we're seeing in the first quarter and we're seeing in the third quarter, that's not the game plan. That's what I can guarantee you. Okay. All outstanding comments are in the chat. Okay, well, there we go. I can't believe we've talked about this game for almost an hour. By the way, I do just want to read something that Steve Popper just tweeted, which I find interesting. The Knicks say that the team is not making Julius available. This is the 7th straight game he has not spoken. And I think it's since the boo. So he spoke at practice the day after the booing thing, the thumbs down thing. And now this is the 7th straight game he has not spoken after the game. And I'm going to say this, and I'm sure Julius Randle's going to have good games from here on in. And I will perhaps regret saying what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you have a player who is not who the mere thought of going out and answering questions from reporters is so off-putting, that's not a player that can be the best player on a good team. And I understand that he was the best player on a good team last year. I understand that. But long term, that was 1 year. And he didn't face a lot of adversity that year. Like, the mettle of a man or woman is determined when things are bad, not good. So if he's refusing to come out, and again, I'm not someone who cares about players talking or GMs or anybody talking to reporters. I don't care about that. But, like, if you're hurt, come out and say you're hurt. Like, I understand if maybe you don't want to make an excuse, but I don't know. To me, this speaks to someone who there's a fragility right now about Julius Randle. Again, because, like, what's the worst that could happen? It's just people asking you questions and then you answering those questions. And then people like us sitting on the internet or on Twitter or whatever and, like, making whatever we're going to make out of whatever you say. All of that is bullshit. And, like, I'm not saying it's easy to be mentally tough enough to literally not care about what anybody says about you ever. But maybe it's me being selfish. But I want the best player, as a fan of the team, I want the best player on the team to be able to, like, withstand that and be mentally tough enough to deal with that. And be able to and by the way, like, again, what I've wanted him to say all along is, like, just get up there and be like, look, I haven't been good. I understand I haven't been good. I'm really frustrated that I haven't been good. This has been terrible for me. Nobody's more frustrated than me about this. I need to be better. I don't have an excuse. That's all you got to say. That's all you got to say. Just say that. And, like, I don't know. I don't love This is not a good sign to me, but that's me. Couple more comments in the super chat, and then we're gonna get out of here. I don't think I missed any. Yeah, Kevin Danishevsky's next up. I have a buddy who's a Knicks fan, but mostly an NBA generalist. He was shocked to hear the fire Tibbs talk. I've been critical, but please be smarter. I mean, look, it's not about smart or not smart. It's about emotion. Like, we're fans. We don't want to see our team go down by 25 points at home in a must-win game. You got to blame someone. It's natural. It's human emotion. It's that human nature to blame someone. And again, like I said before, it's like if you if you don't blame the coach, you blame the players, and it sucks to be like our players suck. Forgotten NYC. I don't know if you saw this, but the best Knicks point guard this century was in attendance tonight. Raymond Felton. Yeah, he is the best Knicks point guard this century. Don't disagree with that at all. All outstanding comments are in the chat. What chat? Andrew, I don't know what you're talking about. All outstanding comments are in the chat. You gotta let me know. Hoon Sung. Bad mix of youth vets. I see similarities to the Jazz. They both, except the Jazz are good. The Jazz are really good. They both peaked last year, and the vets declining. Team ID not clear, versatile, and our ceilings are much lower. Okay, hold on. I'm being told. Oh, here we go. This is from Brian Benjamin. Progression isn't linear, guys. Keep your heads up. Yeah, I agree with that, which is why I said what I said before about this is going to test their culture. If this thing really is going in the right direction, but if it's not, they won't. This is from Leone. I'm sorry I missed all these, by the way. I didn't understand whatever. From James Stanzoni. At the end of the day, all our options don't matter if the team doesn't mesh well. The frustrating thing is we've seen them care only when they want to. Yeah, it does come across like caring and not caring, James, and I completely agree with that. I think sometimes like the meshing, non-meshing can manifest itself with the appearance of caring, not caring. I don't think that this is a team of guys who don't care or a team of guys who are like, we're out on this season. Like whatever happens, happens. We don't give a shit. I think this is a team of frustrated players that they don't know how to play with each other. They're not having fun playing basketball right now. And I don't think there's a lot of trust. It's just nothing's good. From Hush Zoo, Hush Zoo meant 16-17, the 2016-17 season. And also Ty Washington Draft Watch. I have been paying attention to the Ty Washington. From Kevin Danishevsky, another one. Thanks, Kevin, for being so generous tonight. I appreciate you, man. I dislike Mark Jackson when it comes to basketball, but that's too far unless something came out of that. I don't know. The most accurate comp is Atlanta 2021, 2022. Yeah, my Mark Jackson hate goes to some of the stuff that you could feel free to read up on him. I just have a personal issue with people who do things in their life that are not great things, and then they stand on like, oh, but I'm a religious man and I'm a God-fearing man and this, that, and the other thing. These are my least favorite people in the world. So if I think that you're a shitty person and that you're trying to get away with it by saying that, like, praise Jesus, yeah, don't come around me. You could go fuck off. That's why I don't like Mark Jackson. And the homophobia too. So again, fuck off, Mark Jackson. Another one from James Stanzioni. The reason why fans disagree with you is because you may be right, but we haven't been able to see all of these what ifs in the rotation to prove you're indeed correct. I don't think. Listen, I don't know if I'm correct or not. In terms of like the what ifs about the rotation, I don't know. I look. I know there's been inconsistency in terms of who's who's been there and who hasn't been there, there's been enough players there to win with. It's just the mix hasn't been good, and they haven't played well. From Haitian Ferg, poor roster, bad investment in Julius. Front office is hiding behind Tibbs. He won Coach of the Year because the roster outplayed expectations. We ran it back with a poor roster as the conference got better. I mean, I think, again, they tried to make the roster better, and it didn't work. The Kemba thing didn't work. The Kemba-Julius match didn't work. Fournier plus Kemba plus Julius. None of it worked. None of it worked. It's all been bad. Does that mean the front office is to blame? I mean, if you got to blame someone, blame them. I guess. Other than the players. No, blame the players. Blame the players. They haven't been good. If you're a player and you're not good, you get blamed. This is from Bio Goat. Not about Julius' potential mindset degeneration. When you hold him accountable, or degradation when you hold him accountable. It's about the rest of the team's morale mindset when you don't hold others accountable more, i.e. Obi. Oh, I think I get what you're saying. It's about okay. So you're saying it's about that he holds Obi more accountable than other. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair. And Tibbs is harder on younger players, I think, generally. That said, Quentin Grimes, how many minutes did Quentin Grimes play tonight? Quentin Grimes was one of the first subs off the bench. Quentin Grimes played 24 minutes. Tibbs loves Quentin Grimes. Tibbs, I think, would play Quentin Grimes probably 48 minutes if he could. He's a young player. I think there are little mistakes that Obi makes. I notice them here and there. I'm sure other people in here notice them. That I think they drive a coach up a wall. And I don't think Tibbs is unique. I think they would drive a lot of coaches up a wall. Should they drive them up a wall to the point that he doesn't play more? Maybe not. I don't know. This another one from Robert Cross. Tibbs isn't the problem. Randle is. Give the keys to RJ. Make Randle play second fiddle. Kemba has to go. Start IQ at point guard the rest of the year. Hashtag 53 wins. This from Ed Paula. Julius guarded by Hart, and Julius was still roaming the perimeter. I mean, Hart's a good defender, but he's not a big man. Either Julius or Tibbs have to be blamed there. Tibbs, again, takes way too long to sub in the third. We've talked about this already. In terms of who to blame for Julius not being more aggressive, I don't know. I'm starting more and more to think it's a physical issue with him. I don't know. I'm not sure. From Sean Hardy, 5:21 left. IQ missed a three. Mitch watches the long rebound until the audible horror from the crowd convinces him to go get it. Our season in a nutshell. The one that I go back to, I'm not going to blame Mitch because I think first of all, Mitch is a little spacey. And second of all, I think he played the best game of anyone on the court. The one I have is, I mean, you want to pinpoint some moments for season in a nutshell? Fournier watching the ball carom back towards the paint and assume that Julius Randle was just going to go get it when someone came from behind Fournier to get it before him. That's one. RJ Barrett holding the release on the made three-pointer, and then Herb Jones beats him down. That was his man. And I love that RJ Barrett pointed to the corner as if someone pick him up. Well, guess what, motherfucker? It's your man. You're supposed to pick him up. Don't hold your form for 5 seconds after a made three. That's your fault. Oh, and he did it again on a fucking free throw where they beat him down the court, and RJ held the form on the free throw. Oh, and he complained to a ref, too, after he thought he should have gotten a call. His man beat him back too. Look, love me some RJ, but, let's call a spade a spade. 3 of those moments in this game. 3 too many. So lots of those sorts of moments. Sean Hardy, that was the comment I just read. This from Forgotten NYC. Tibbs ain't going anywhere without a bona fide real franchise point guard. That's most teams in the NBA. Point blank, end of discussion. Point Julius ain't working anymore, and it's been rough. Yeah, I mean, if he's been bad. So yeah. Hush Zoo again. Thank you again. Thank you for everybody who comments in the super chat. I appreciate it so much. And for those of you who comment like multiple times, it's amazing. If Randle gets traded, does that indicate Tibbs' time here is done? No, I would actually say that that's a vote of confidence in Tibbs. If they're going to trade the best player and keep the coach, I think it's a vote of confidence in Tibbs. They're not trading Randle. Tibbs has 2015-16 Knicks vibes. This has 2015-16 Knicks vibes. So much expectations, but failed on all cylinders. Sad. I think you mean 16-17. 15-16 was the season before Rose. So that was before Rose, before Noah. I actually like the 15-16 team. That was the Robin Lopez, Aaron Aflalo. Oh God, who else was it? Was that the Brandon Jennings? I always get confused if Jennings was that summer or the next summer. But like that was a fun, feisty little team, and they hung around 500 for about half the season, and then the wheels fell off. I like that 15-16 team. And then Josh B. I think this is the last one that I had missed. We either need to tank for real talent at the point guard in the draft or trade picks and young guys for Fox. We need a real identity on offense, specifically from a point guard. I think Fox is a really interesting. I think Fox is a really interesting. Sorry, I made you wait so long, Josh. I'll talk about this for a bit. So De'Aaron Fox. I think Fox is a fascinating buy low candidate. What does buy low mean? I have no idea. My guess is all of the recent stories that you've seen coming out, or not all of them, the recent stories that you've seen coming out about the Kings messaging that they want to build around Fox and they're going to keep him and the whole thing. That to me is basically one, try to put out fires of trade reports, and two, try to boost up Fox's trade value if he has any significant trade value right now. I don't think there's going to be a real buy low opportunity with De'Aaron Fox. I think they would hold firm. And I think they would hold firm, especially with the Knicks, because they know the Knicks would be pretty desperate for Fox. If you could get Fox for like your own first round pick this year and the Dallas pick and like another protected first somewhere down the line and like, I don't know, OB and like salary, or like even like OB and like Grimes and salary, like, you'd think about that, I think. But again, you're bringing Fox to a team in which he, again, ostensibly would be the best player, and Julius Randle would then move to the number 2. How would Julius feel about that? How is Julius going to work as a number 2 alongside a point guard like that who's so ball dominant? Like, ultimately, all of these notions about win now trades or like getting a real point guard in here and the whole thing, none of that's going to work if Julius isn't better. And I don't know if Julius is going to be better if you just move him down the totem pole. I think that's an assumption that we all have. I don't know if it's true. We'll see. CT Pittman, my man. What's going on, CT? Missed you. We are who we thought we were. Average. Yeah, pretty much. We are who Vegas thought we were. 41.5 wins. And then Rich Wolkowitz. I like the idea of IQ with the starters. Also, time to sub out Julius earlier when he plays like this. Less minutes may be beneficial for Julius and the team. I certainly think they would have been beneficial tonight. Okay. Again, apologies to everybody who had to wait to get your super chat comment read. That was my bad. Because just one of those nights. I had as much of an off night as the Knicks starters, but hope nobody minds too much. Thanks everybody for coming and watching. Amazing that we could talk about this maddening team for 75 minutes. As I wear can you all see my Knicks pajamas here that I wore? My wife is laughing at me at. What is Andrew saying? Thank you for 1 like equals thank you, John. Sure. We will be back on Sunday afternoon in a game that I have zero confidence. Or yeah, thank you, Andrew. That's a good one. Like equals thank you, Andrew. I have zero confidence they're going to win on Sunday. I have no confidence. I'm at the place like I think a lot of people are at, which is like I have very little confidence that anything good is happening with this team right now. I hope to be pleasantly surprised. Oh, we got one more super chat. Okay, here we go. Juanon, interesting name. Marcus Smart would look great playing Kemba's minutes. Rumors are Bradley wants to deal him. Bradley. Brad Stevens? Bradley Stevens? Bradley Stevens? I did not know his first full name was Bradley. Oh, I see we have turtles in the chat. Marcus Smart. Do I want Marcus? I mean, would I take Marcus Smart for Kemba? Yes, I would. I'm a Smart fan. I know he's a maddening player and frustrating player to some people. I would love Marcus Smart as the starting point guard of this team. I don't think it's going to happen. Pretty sure Kemba's not going back to Boston. Just a gut feeling. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know. It's a pretty depressing night though. I'll say that. Anyway, I'll see you all on Sunday. Thanks everybody for coming, checking out the post game. Thanks everybody for listening tomorrow or Friday, I should say, to the pod version of this. And shameless plug: if anybody did not check out today's Knicks Film School Podcast with Chris Herring, author of Blood in the Garden, the flagrant history of the 1990s New York Knicks. Be sure to check out the podcast. Super fun pod. Chris was awesome. Chris is awesome. The book is awesome. Go buy the book if you haven't already. It is a absolute must read. We covered, like I wasn't joking when I said on the pod, we covered like 3% of the total stuff in the book. There was so much good stuff in that book. I can't even begin to describe it. But anyway, all right. I'll see everybody later. Peace out. Have a good night.